what have been telling people in a lot of both my classes and the free webinars that we do is there's 3 categories that you want to pay attention to, not from a fearful space, but from a point of observation and a place of beginning to observe how this shift is moving around you. You're going to see changes in world leadership. And what I mean by that is how people begin to do things differently. And you're going to see events that take funny turns in Israel and Palestine, and you're going to see how the U.S. begins to do things slightly different as well as other countries. And some of these other countries are going to come out of left field, more or less. They're just going to be very strange events, how world leadership does something. And so let me go to the second topic, which is world economics.
Yeah.
And again, this is not a place to be fearful, because what you absolutely know is the system is broken. It doesn't work. It doesn't support the well-being, nurturing, uplifting of people around the world. And you're going to see many changes in current events in the week. I started talking about this about 3 or 4 weeks ago, but you're going to see the euro, which is considered a very solid currency. It's not a currency. It's an experiment. And it was put in place in the 90s, and it is built on house cards. It's a lie. And so countries like Greece and Portugal, Italy, Spain, all of those countries, Ireland to an extent, have all basically entered into that agreement to form the euro, and they've done it relatively fraudulently, particularly Greece. And so
I was reading some of that stuff about Greece.
Yeah, and their debt is far greater than their capacity to pay. And so you're going to see where these world economics have been built on the backs of poor people and the backs of all of us. And so a few could get rich. The game has been recast numbers of times, but the shift is all about bringing it into balance. And so this year you're going to see a lot of economic changes. They don't necessarily mean that they have to affect you or I. They will in some ways. They may be inconvenient, but at the level where the game begins to break is in the very high levels of the game, and the currency structures are going to have to be changed. A country that you wouldn't think is in trouble, but Great Britain is in an enormous amount of trouble, and let alone the United States is in a great amount of trouble. You may see things that are unthinkable this year, like the city of Los Angeles defaulting on the money it owes. It is very possible for that to happen. You could see the state of California declare bankruptcy. Unheard of. The 8th largest economy in the world declaring bankruptcy. Now, none of those things may happen, but something will happen, and numbers of somethings will happen, and there will begin to be a cascade in how we begin to perceive moving forward. And then the third category, which is really global changes, and that's going to incur weather. And all you have to do is look around. Weather is not like it was years before.
No kidding.
All over the place. You're going to see earth changes in many, many ways, and I'll talk about that more specifically if you want. But you're going to see changes in things that most people, it gets to be kind of fun to just know about, but you want to watch the sun cycles. The sun is being very, very active, and it's very important what the sun is doing. Scientists are finding that the sun's new cycle, it's called cycle 24, is just really starting to kick into gear. But what it's really doing to the Earth, it's already in motion, but the magnetic field around the Earth is breaking down. Now, scientists will tell you, oh, this is a problem because all those rays of light are going to be hitting the Earth. But what's really happening is the Earth's magnetic field is designed very specifically to maintain the third dimensional reality. It keeps duality in place. And as the magnetic field collapses, this concept of duality, the third dimension, is actually beginning to weaken more and more and more. We're going into a state of oneness, and we're in transition, and that's what this shift is all about, transition.
Yeah, exactly. And the whole thing with the economy and everything, so much of that was used to control.
Yes.
Basically like the Romans, give them the circus so they don't rebel kind of thing. And it's a situation where people have to realize the value of things rather than the cost of them. And,
yes.
It's really funny because it's coming at us in so many different ways. It's like State Farm Insurance has got these great commercials now where it says something like it's learning that those around the television are more important than the size of the television.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. People are getting these messages all the time.
Yeah.
Whether or not they're paying any attention to them, that's another story.
Well, there's major changes, and you have to go back to the 70s, and it started in the 70s where the media side of things and the side of the game that played control. Now, let me be really very specific here. People have many of us who play in this spiritual world who don't like the third dimensional game, who are more sensitive, who are more aware in simple ways, not better than anybody. We have had a tendency to point fingers and believe in conspiracy theory.
Oh, yeah.
Now, conspiracy theory conspiracy means something's hidden under the surface and nobody knows about it. Mm-hmm. There are no conspiracies any longer. I mean, maybe there are, but basically everything is on the surface.
Yep.
But my point is, and I believe this to be really important, stay out of the conspiracy theories. Mm-hmm. Stay out of going to the noisiness. Stay out of the pointing of the fingers. Because what is happening in this shift, it's all about you. You are the center of your universe. You are the lead actor in your play. You're the creator of the play, and everything rotates around you. And as this shift is accelerating, time is collapsing. And so where you used to have cause and effect, and it took a longer period of time to see the cause and effect, you are now thinking something, and it's bumping into your nose as you finish the thought.
Yep.
One of the things that happens is if you continue to hold your attention on what's wrong, it's their fault, it's broken, I'm being taken advantage of, that thought now has more power than it had before because it's happening back into your universe quicker.
Right.
This aspect of giving credit to the conspiracy is doing you no good at all, one. But two, it's feeding the light or the ability for the conspiracy to continue to have life. Mm-hmm. So it's when we stop giving credibility to this level of conspiracy, the third dimensional reality that's built on lies and deceit and control and domination is falling apart. It's falling apart on its own. You're going to be much more beneficial to simply say, yes, I know that's going, but don't follow it up with a thought and those bad people or an emotion. If you can begin to pull your thought and emotion out of that game, it's going to collapse under its own weight.
Yep, that's definitely it.
Very important because it's not about you, but you can be about the conspiracy or the bad guys, if you want to call them that. Take your energy out of that, dust off your sandals, and get about your own business of cleaning up your own internal stuff because this shift is taking everybody home, but it's going to be more of a bumpy ride the more a baggage that you try to take on the journey.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Yeah, and that's the whole thing. I mean, if you watch nature, and we're part of nature.
Absolutely.
If you stop impinging upon nature, it automatically goes back to its natural state.
Exactly.
You got a beaver dam, you got a pool. Get rid of the beaver dam, and suddenly the river's flowing again.
Of course.
And that's the whole thing that I'm finding.